Welcome, dear Thriver, to Thriver TV. I'm Melanie Tonia Evans, the author of the best-selling book You Can Thrive After Narcissistic Abuse, and the creator and the founder of the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, known as NARP, and also the Thriver Way to Heal, which is a quantum solution to deeply healing from the inside out, to not just survive narcissistic abuse, but thrive like you never have before in your life moving forward. Today, I want to talk to you about how the narcissist can use you worrying about what other people think about you as one of their greatest weapons against you. I'm going to explain to you how this works and how you can get clear of the narcissist using these as the bullets to shoot you with and trauma bond you with. Okay, now before we get going with this, I just want to remind those of you who might be new to my channel, and also too, if you are sick and tired of being hooked into somebody who you know is abusing you, can't get the obsessions out of your head, and you're really struggling to recover, then I can't recommend enough subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you'll hear about every new video I release. Okay, all right, so what is this whole thing about a narcissist using what others think about us as a very powerful weapon against us? Well, first of all, most of us didn't grow up in families where it was mirrored to us for us to trust ourselves, to identify our values, what was true for us, and to stand powerfully in it and have boundaries with other people and situations that not only didn't agree with our values, but who really violated them, who might have insidiously used our flakiness and our lack of boundaries and listening to and anchoring in our own truth against us to grant them what they wanted rather than being able to generate our own life. Narcissists do this in so many different ways. And usually it's through smears and put downs and gaslighting. So let me explain this to you. So you may be with a narcissist and you're not agreeing with their version of things because it doesn't make sense. And it feels really off in your body. So for example, they might be saying to you, well, it's not okay for you to go and see your friends because you should be doing things with me. And you're ignoring me, you don't love me, you don't care about me enough, and you know it doesn't feel right for you, what the narcissist is saying. So what you do is you try to fight back. You argue with them. You say, well, what's wrong with me going and seeing my friends? I'm okay with you going and seeing your friends. And then the narcissist may up the ante by saying, other people in my life agree with me. They know that you abandon me. They know that you're selfish. They know that they don't care. They know that you're just thinking about yourself and you don't think about me. And then all of a sudden you're starting to question yourself and you think, well, maybe I am being selfish and maybe I am being wrong and maybe I'm not spending enough time with you and maybe they're right. And you're actually worried about what the narcissist, first of all, thinks about you. That's probably the thing that disturbs you the most. Because the people that you deeply love, whether it's a family member or a spouse or a love partner or even your own child, you want them to think well of you. So you start agreeing with their versions of things. And you're also worried about maybe at work they are saying to people, I'm selfish. Maybe they tell my family I don't care enough about them. Maybe they tell their own family that. Maybe they're saying that to the kids. Mummy or daddy is selfish. They don't think about us. They don't think about me. So you may acquiesce. You hand over your rights, your values, and your truth and your power, and you start staying home more. But then that's not making this person happy either. And the truth of that is you can't acquiesce your way out of tyranny and things that aren't true for your soul. So that's one way that a narcissist can get you to hand over your power and control you through worrying about what other people think of you. Now, the other way that they can do it is through smear campaigns. So what happens is, if you're in conflict with a narcissist, or even if you've left a narcissist, and even sometimes when you're with a narcissist, it will come back to you, other people having a go at you, or confronting you, or saying shocking things about you that the narcissist has said to them. Now, the narcissist is always going to smear you, always. And the reasons why they do that is because the narcissist's false self, which is an insecure, immature, fragile structure, as soon as you challenge it or question it, well, then the narcissist has to project onto you that everything is your fault. So, and even when things go wrong in their life that you've got nothing to do with, the narcissist, rather than taking personal responsibility for their own life, their own mistakes and their own decisions, they need impunity. They need for themselves to hold up the mirage to themselves that they are beyond reproach and perfect and significant and superior, and there's nothing defective or wrong with them, which is the exact opposite of regarding how they really feel about themselves. But this buffer is necessary for them to emotionally exist and hold it together. So they're going to blame you. It always has to be somebody else's fault, and the person closest to them that they've hooked for narcissistic supply is the biggest dump master of their wounds and their defects, blaming it on you. So the narcissist is always going to smear you. They're going to say that you're doing the things that they do, that you don't care, that you're immoral, that you're not loyal, that you are a gold digger, that you can't be trusted, that you're having affairs, and all of these sorts of things. Now, when you hear these things back from other people who are taking the narcissist side, you are triggered immensely. It is horrifying. And then what happens is it triggers all of your persecution programs, the things like, if people think badly of me, I'm going to get annihilated. I'm going to be abandoned. I'm going to be thrown out of the hut and I'm going to die. There's a huge collective trauma of the fears of persecution because they threaten our whole survival identity structure. And then what happens with that is you're going to go to the source of who's creating that, trying to get them to realize the truth, trying to force other people to see the truth. And the more triggered and incensed and devastated and horrified you are by it, by engaging in trying to fix it within that internal emotional composition, you only generate more of the same. It works against you. It makes you look even more guilty, more wrong, more crazy, more defective, which is all amazing vindication to the narcissist. So that's another way that they get you regarding what other people think about you. So where is all of this leading to? How do we get out of this? The only real way to get out of this is, rather than looking outside of ourselves about what other people think about us, realize a really powerful truth, which starts in a basic understanding that if you're trying not to piss off other people, you're always going to piss off yourself. What does that really mean? It means that your values and your truths have got to be really about you. What is it that you want in your life? What do you want to align with? What is your truth in matters? Are you willing to live that life? Because this is what really sets you free. And when you understand that your life is generated from your alignment with your truth and your values and your boundaries, regardless of what anybody else is or isn't saying or what anybody else does or doesn't think, then no longer does your emotional survival and your ability to be a spirit and a physical body generating experience, no longer is that reliant on what other people think about you. And you start to understand a very, very powerful truth. That when you're trying to convince of other people about who you are, It's because you're not sure who you are. And when you are sure of who you are, you no longer feel the neediness of trying to provide other people with the truth of who you are. You can just powerfully, without fear, be and walk the truth of who you are. And people who have the resources very, very powerfully get it. And those who don't have the resources, you have no need to be involved in relationship with those people anymore. So in my own story with the persecution that came from the smearing of the narcissist against me, which was horrifying accusations, which were passed on to colleagues, friends, family, and even my son, when I was in the shock and the horror and the trauma of what the narcissist thought about me, which was just incredibly disturbing. Because I believe that people who love you are loyal and they believe in you. So this was a huge shock. But also too, other people in my life who I thought had been friends and family and who knew me and colleagues believed the lies. And at that point in my life, in that horror and disturbance and deep emotional survival programs triggered to the point where I really felt like I was going to die if I couldn't change their mind, I was showing up in a way to try to get them to see the truth and realize that he was criminal and a liar and he was actually the perpetrator of these things that he was saying I was doing. When I tried to get people to see the truth, they believed him more and more and more. And eventually through my Thriver journey, my 180-degree turn from trying to fix it out there to coming home to healing it in here, I found incredibly deep traumas and fears. It was interesting, as a little girl, if I ever got accused of something, I would be so devastated. I would cry myself to sleep every night. And I just thought it was because I had such a big conscience. And, you know, even my teacher at school said, a teacher-parent interview to my mum, Melanie's got such a conscience, you know, it's such a thing for her. But really, it was a terror of being persecuted. That's why I was so doing the right thing all the time. But what happened was I understood that I had to heal my fears of people not believing that I was a good person and not believing that I was doing the right thing. And they were deep and they were insidious and they were so debilitating. And I met them with NARP, with Quantum Freedom Healing, and they were very much module 1 work, because as soon as it's triggered and it's up and it's white hot and you can't even focus on anything because it's so triggered, module 1's your go-to for that stuff. It really is. And I did lots of module 1 work on that. I did lots of source healing and resolution work on that, on my persecution programs. And what ended up happening was this solid inner calm, this connection to source, which so went like this. I know who I am. I know what my truth is. And it just is. And I don't need other people to get it to feel at peace and whole. And it was such a shift for me. It was such a revelation because I had never, ever, ever felt like that. I'd always been a people pleaser. I danced around other people's wounds. I had had the beliefs, I have to fix you and keep you happy to get love, approval, survival, and security. I have to get you to believe in me. Now it was just like, I am love, approval, survival, and security. I know who I am. I know I'm connected to source, and that's all that matters. And then this incredible thing happened. People came back into my life and apologized. They'd seen the truth. As I shifted quantumly, so within, so without, the outer must match the inner belief, because it's just quantum law, as absolute as gravity. People got it. People understood it. People saw the truth that I'd been trying to shake them into understanding. They just organically rose up into it. And it was so amazing with my narcissistic abuse symptoms when I was so attached to people understanding what I was going through and my traumas and my depression and my anxiety and my PTSD and my agoraphobia and my fibromyalgia and my adrenal fatigue. And I'm trying to explain over and over and over and over and over and over to people why I was like I was, because they thought I was a nutcase. They couldn't get it. They'd never been through it. It was so interesting when I let go of the need for people to get me, for people to understand me, for people to believe me, and just started healing those things within myself with NARP. And so much of it was, all of the modules work on that stuff. And when those abuse symptoms started to dissolve and I came back to health, people got me automatically. They absolutely got me. What I've discovered now in my life moving forward, making it so about what are my values, what are my truths, what is my alignment, how do I back my soul? Because if I back my soul, source backs me, regardless of what other people think. That's what I live and that's what I know. And now even the hard decisions that I make in my life that I know are true for me, other people in my life accept it. They get it because I've got it. No longer do I make those decisions or try to get their approval for those decisions. I just solidly back myself, knowing I can change my mind again. I could get an intuitive truth, or the information could change and I could change. But at this moment, these are my values, this is my truth, this is my action that supports and backs my soul. I don't need your approval. I don't need to explain. I don't need to justify. It just is. And people get it and they support me. And if they don't, well, that's their problem. I'm going to do it anyway and be it anyway. So this is the freedom I'm talking about. Now, when we're with narcissists, just when I was with a narcissist, I didn't live like that. I was really that underdeveloped child who hadn't been taught to know my values and my truths and my boundaries and live aligned to my soul with source. I hadn't been taught that. So I was always looking for that outer approval. I was looking for love, approval, security, and survival through others. I was looking at them to validate who I was and grant me myself. So I want to give you hope that when you let go of that and you turn inside and you really confront and work through the things that you need to heal up into a solid source of self for self, then you're going to be able to be you. And what you'll discover in your life is the narcissists and the people that are out to violate you and mine you and exploit you for their own purposes and reasons. They don't see you as a blood, flesh, bone being. They see you as a prop. They see you as a tool to get what they want, whether it be sex or finances or resources or contacts or acclaim or superiority or to feed their ego. It's not a relationship. It's not a partnership. It's an exploitation. And when we're looking for approval and we really need people to believe in us and see us and not think we're bad people, you are going to completely lose your appetite for that. Because when you know yourself and you have full permission within you to live your truth, then if somebody tries to mess with you and doesn't allow you to be you, you're going to say, that's my boundary, that's my truth. And if they still carry on and still try to control you through manipulation and guilt and smearing and abuse by proxy and all of those things, you'll go, I'm sorry, this isn't for me. You know, this isn't healthy. This isn't my truth. I'm not honoring my soul here. I have all that I need through soul and source, and I don't need to play this game anymore. And what you discover from that place is the people that do come into your life, and you have boundaries and you take your time and you get to know them and their values and their truth and their ability to allow other people to be themselves. You start generating beautiful relationships with people like that because you're going to be honest, you're going to be truthful. You're not going to just go along to get along anymore. That's not a truthful relationship. I hope that this helps. I hope that this can give you hope. And I want you to know that there's a whole other life on the other side of this. I'm living proof. Thousands of other people are living proof. And I would love you to go and check out NARP, which is the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program. Go and listen to the testimonies. Go and read through what the modules can do for you. And it will relate to what you've gone through, what you've been hooked up on, what your trauma bonds are. And it powerfully from the inside out will, and it does, grant you back home to yourself, maybe for the first time ever. Most of us as kids didn't get that. We didn't get that mirroring, learning and programming. But as adults, we can. I hope this gives you hope. Looking forward to your comments and your questions. And lots of love. Bye-bye.